This morning I'm exhorting you, by way of a short story, to kill uncharitable criticism. I once had a young man come to me for counseling. He said that he had some serious problems in his life, but that he really didn't have a lot of time to sort them out. Essentially, he mentioned that he wanted a quick fix for me so that he could start to feel better. Since I knew that we didn't have much time, I asked him, "What's the main problem in your life?" He said that the main reason for his problems was that there were a couple of people in his life who were just so arrogant and judgmental. He was very bothered and he was very upset about these folks, to the extent that it had become the main focal point for him. He was really upset about their imperfect character. He said that he wanted me to tell him really quickly how he could make this situation go away so that he could be happier and less anxious. Well, since I knew I didn't have much time to really analyze the details of his situation, I knew that I needed to basically give him what I could give him. In cases like this, it's best if you just get out the sword and go, shh. So that's what I did. He said, "What can I do?" I told him, the best thing you can do to help your friend's arrogance and judgmentalism is to deal with your arrogance and your judgmentalism. Of course, he looked at me with a sideways glance and angrily said, "Well, thanks a lot." Then he took off. A funny thing happened though, you see, because he went home that day and he started to think about what I said. And you know what? He came back to church a few months later and he found me. He thanked me. He hugged me with tears in his eyes. He was broken. He began to realize that he had a real problem with his own pride and his own arrogance. And once he dealt with that, the other problems in his life started to resolve. So how did I know what his problem was? Well, the Bible tells me. Today I exhort you to fight against hypercriticism. I exhort you to fight this sin according to Romans 2, 1 through 3. Now just before this passage in Romans 1, the Apostle Paul had just leveled the Gentiles who had basically become riotous in their own sin. And then in chapter 2, he turns the tables. He flips the script. He turns to those who he wasn't hitting before, in a sense, and he really wakes them up. See, the Jews would have heard the end of chapter 1, and they would have been saying, yeah, give it to them, Paul. Those unrighteous, unreligious Gentiles, they really gripe us. They need to learn their lesson and be more like us. The Jews were standing back with a great judgmental attitude, a hypercritical attitude. And in Romans 2, Paul says, "You may think you can condemn such people, but you're just as bad, and you have no excuse. When you say they are wicked and should be punished, you're condemning yourself. For you who judge others do these very same things. And we know that God, in His justice, will punish anyone who does such things. Since you judge others for doing these things, why do you think you can avoid God's judgment when you do the same things?" The point is this: you are hypercritical of others who have your same problem. Think about it for a minute. There is someone in your life that is very hard for you to love. The weaknesses of this person really stand out in your mind. It might be your mom, or your dad, or your brother, or your sister. It may be your boss, or your teacher, or your coworker. Maybe even your son or daughter. Think to yourself, what is the attitude and what are the actions that really get to me about this person? And you'll be looking at yourself.